Okay, so you guys know that I have had quite the adventure when it comes to dating, and I just remembered this guy that I dated for a little while. Back after, well, it was when I was living in a domestic violence shelter. It wasn't really like a shelter as most people think of it. It was a house where women and their children who had been abused could live for up to 2 years, depending on like whether you qualified for transitional housing, which I did. I didn't end up staying there for even 1 year, not even 6 months, not even 2 months. I think I was there for maybe a month and a half before I left and moved to Chicago. Um, this was when I was living in Nebraska. And back then, I was really into like, I was lonely. So I would end up using my phone to call like those chat party lines or whatever on the phone, where you basically just say random things about yourself and you end up being able to have conversations with people over the phone, people that you have no idea what they're all about. And I ended up talking to a guy on one of the phone chat lines, and he and I decided to start texting and talking to each other on the phone, not on the party line. So we exchanged numbers and things like that. And at first we were just friends, and then he was a little deceitful. He didn't like disclose the whole situation that he was in to me. Um, he just told me, that he lived in Louisiana, which, like I said, I lived in Nebraska at the time, so obviously that was a long distance relationship. We would text like all day long throughout the day. We would just be texting back and forth. And come to find out, he was actually a convicted murderer and he was serving life in prison. Now, I didn't know this when I first started talking to him because I was so naive then that I didn't even realize that people were smuggling cell phones into prison and stuff like that. That's how naive I was at the time. I think I was maybe 19 or 20 at the time that this happened. So, I mean, yeah, we'll just say that I was young and dumb. But anyways, so what ended up happening was I eventually started talking to his son. And, he kind of explained the situation to me. And after I found out, like, the whole conversation changed. He was always asking me to put money on his books, to send money to his kids for different things because he couldn't send them money. And I wasn't working at the time. This was when I was still in nursing school. And like I said, I was living in the domestic violence shelter. So I was basically just making enough to pay my phone bill at this point in time. I didn't have like a steady job or steady income of any kind. And so his constantly asking me to put money on his books, send money to his kids, help him buy a new phone. I didn't want to do that because I figured I was going to get in trouble for helping him smuggle a phone into prison. Um, but he also wanted me to help him find lawyers, help him, do all this other stuff, which, I know that there are people who are really into dating people who are in prison. I don't know why, because, you can't really spend time with them. You can't have a life outside of prison. If someone is in there for life, like he was, his sentence was actually life without the possibility of parole. Um, because like I said, he was a convicted murderer. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to judge people because I do know that people get falsely convicted and things like that, and I have no idea what the situation is. But he was a convicted murderer, and it's not really something that I'm proud of, but I just thought that it was funny that, he lied to me and got me interested in talking to him, and then come to find out he's a convicted murderer. And he was trying to get me to move down to Louisiana so then I could come visit him in prison and meet his kids and things like that. And I am so glad that I was not dumb enough to continue talking to him. But, things happen, and I honestly can't believe I talked to him for as long as I did, because even after I found out that he was a convicted murderer and in prison, I still would text him every once in a while. I wouldn't talk to him on the phone anymore because I didn't want to hear, I didn't know what was truth and what was lies from him after that. Because obviously that's a big thing. If someone's in prison, you know, it's a big, big thing for someone to be dating a convicted murderer and, be trying to communicate with them while they're serving life in prison. I don't see how people do it, but anyways, I just thought that I would share since I've been so like transparent about different things that have gone on in my love life, my crazy up and down roller coaster of a love life. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that crazy story, and I will talk to you guys again soon.